So we are continuing challenges when trying to be
Persistent.
persistent. So one, I wrote down waiting in hope.
Versus waiting in bitterness.
This is the key. As I told you before, remember the prayer of David. He said, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of
Death.
I will fear no
Evil.
But there are people that can walk through the valley of the shadow of death. And when they come out like monsters. Whilst there are others, they go through the valley of the shadow of death. But when they come out shining. That's the thing. There are some people, they are waiting in hope, persistent in hope. But then there are others, because the situation has been so long, they have grown bitter. They have grown bitter. And the analogy I always like to make is, I don't know if you guys have seen The Lord of the Rings. There are two archetypes in The Lord of the Rings, two ring bearers. One was Frodo, and what was the other's name? Smeagol. Both of them wore the ring. But what happened? Frodo wore the ring, but he remained pure till the end. Smeagol wore the ring, and it consumed him. That's the thing. When you are going through things, it can either make you bitter or it will make you better. So I wrote down, one of the challenges when trying to be persistent is, will you be the one that will wait in hope until you meet your maker? Or will you be the one that will wait in bitterness and let that thing that is troubling you consume you? So I wrote down Luke 21:19. It is in your patience.
In your patience, possess ye your souls.
This is a critical verse. This is a standalone verse that if you meditate on it long enough, it will fill you for months. He's saying,
in your
patience, you will be able to possess your soul. Meaning, due to a lack of patience, many lost themselves. So he's saying, in your patience, possess ye your souls. Romans 8:25. But if we hope
for that we see not,
then do we with patience
wait for it.
Colossians 1:11. Strengthened
with all might
according to
his glorious power
unto all patience
and long suffering
with
joyfulness.
That's the issue. For you have need of patience that after
ye have done the will of Elohim,
you might receive
the promise.
That's the issue. It's just like this child. You are waiting on Elohim in prayer. You are waiting on Elohim. You are looking at the clock, but you are waiting on Elohim. But whilst you are waiting, you should not become a monster, as is the case with so many people. You will see them, because they have not obtained that what they are looking for. All of a sudden, their demeanor has changed. You know some brothers that are like this, but especially the sisters, they can master this. They look around, everyone is getting somewhere. Everyone is reaching something. People are reaching goals, and they look at themselves, and they haven't reached it yet. And what happens? Their countenance changes. All of a sudden, the face, it used to be bright, but now it's as if there is a storm. But you look outside and the sun is shining. And then you tell yourself like, hey, if this face can look like this when the sun is shining, can you imagine her face when there is a storm outside? If you can be this young and the face is already so troubled, Can you imagine how she will look when she's older? When she's older. So it's the same as Elohim came to Cain and Abel, and he saw Abel's face, or Cain's face. And he said, "Hey, Cain, why has thou countenance
Fallen.
So Elohim was like, "Hey, Cain, what has happened to your face?" Because there was this verse, I forgot it. It says something about the face. I don't know what that verse was. Something about the face. Like, I don't know what it was. Like, a man's face showed his, I don't know what. But there are some people, you just see their face and you see trouble. Why? And if you interrogate them, like, hey, and that's the thing, you can't really ask someone like, hey, what's wrong with your face? but it should be a legitimate question, like, hey, bro, what's wrong with your face? So no, I think some men you can ask it, but you can't ask it to a woman, like, hey, the face, But the thing is, this is a challenge. This is a challenge for you to be a long-suffering person, but with joyfulness. This is difficult. This is difficult. To wait for something coming from Elohim, but in your waiting, you are still optimistic. There are some people, because they are going through challenges, now you are even afraid to render them a visit. Because every time I go to meet that person, it's always negative news. He or she is always negative. You speak with them, it's negative. You want to do something, no. Everything is to the point where after your visit, you go home and you are drained. You're like, woof. Because if that is what you have become a parasite. You have become a parasite. So can you imagine that person? How does that person pray? You see the thing? You see the issue now? So which means when that person stands to pray, the heavens flee. Because there is no angel willing to take that bag of stench and bring it to the heavens. Because the angel know, when I go there, the gatekeepers will kill me. One will ask, what is this smell that you have brought here? And the angel has to say, yeah, it is this woman, and she has been waiting for Elohim for so many years, and because Elohim took so long, now she has lost all hope. And the angel will ask, will you bring prayers here without faith? Because this person, everything in this bag is negative. Every word of this person is negative. And Elohim needs your positive energy to grant you the desires of your heart. So people, this is a challenge when trying to be persistent. You must wait in hope and not in bitterness. If you have become this person because the answer coming from Elohim has been delayed, and now because of that you are bitter, I'm already telling you, stop praying. You are stinking up the place. Your angel is in a risk to be arrested because of you. You are too negative. So stop that. Check your heart first. Check your heart first. Check your heart first. Why? Otherwise, you'll become like this guy. Hebrews 12:14. Follow peace,
with all men and holiness,
Without
without which
which
no man shall see Yah,
looking diligently,
lest any man fail of the favor of Yah,
lest any roots
of bitterness springing up trouble you,
and thereby many.
be defiled.
That's it. That's it. There's some people, when you assess them, you're like, hey, I don't recognize my sister anymore. You're like, hey, I don't recognize my brother anymore. A root of bitterness has come up. And thereby, she defiled many. Because any person that meets that person goes home negative. So now, all the troublemakers, they come around you. If you want negative energy, go to that guy. So it's as if you have become a tree of. So there are some people in life, there are trees of life. Whenever they go, they give life. But there are other people, they have become trees of death. Everywhere they go, negative energy. Negative energy. Why? Because they have taken on the disappointments of life and they have worn it like a coat. Why? Because Elohim did not do something for them. And what is so troubling is, these are the same person that if you look at their lives, you can still see the benefits of Elohim in there. But they have only blinded themselves to look at what they don't have. You see? So verse 16, lest there be any
fornicator
or
profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright.
You see, that's it. That's why the verse before says, with patience possess ye
your soul.
And I told you, it is due to a lack of patience that many people lose their soul. When you have lost your soul, you have sold your birthright. Just like Esau, who was a fornicator, a profane person who for one morsel of meat
sold his birthright.
Why is that? Proverbs 13:12. Hope deferred
makes the heart sick,
but a longing
fulfilled is a tree of
You
life.
see? Hope fulfilled or hope deferred, it can make you sick. You can be troubled. You can be down. But at the moment that you are down, David said, why are you cast down?
Oh, my soul.
You must speak to yourself. Whatsoever happens, you must not allow the root of bitterness to take over. Otherwise, you will become what Michelle Bakenda says, meaning you are murmuring against Elohim in your heart. In your heart. You are murmuring against Elohim in your heart. That's the beginning of the root of bitterness. You are like, hey, this is Elohim, man. And you start with, yeah, varum. Yeah, why? You begin to murmur against the commandments, murmur against the laws, murmur against Elohim. Why? Because he has not yet, according to you, given you what you want. So hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a longing fulfilled is a tree of life. Now, Psalms 27, it says, I had fainted
unless I had believed to see the goodness of Yah in the land of the living.
That's what happens. When the root of bitterness has taken over, what the enemy then does is he comes and he covers your heart with a dark cloud. Why? So that you stop believing in Elohim. And what that actually does is you become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because the condition is you must come to Elohim believing that he's a rewarder of those that seek him. But now you come to Elohim, but you are murmuring. Because according to you, he did not give you what you want. So then you become a religious person. You are just going through the rituals. You pray because why? Because you have been praying all your life. You pray because why? Because my husband prays. Because I'm a member of the church, so I can't quit. But deep in your heart, you have long forsaken that relationship with Elohim already. But David is now saying, I had fainted unless.
I had believed to see the goodness of Yah in the land.
So this
of
is
the
a
living.
warning for you not to faint whilst you are waiting. Don't become bitter. The moment you become bitter whilst you are waiting, you have fainted. David is now saying, I almost fainted when I was awaiting for the promise of Elohim. He says, unless I had believed to see the goodness of Yah in the land of the living. Then verse 14, he says,
Wait
rather,
on Yah
wait on Yah.
and be of good courage.
However, in your waiting, you must be of good courage.
Mhm.
And as Elohim sees you, whilst you are waiting and you are of good courage, he will
shall
strengthen your heart.
Mhm.
Wait, I say, on Yah.
Yah.
So people, this is the challenge. This is something you must check yourself daily. When you are waiting, are you waiting in hope, or have you become bitter a long time ago? And now you are just playing make-believe. But everyone who really knows you knows from, hey, something here is wrong. You are just going through the motion, but something is wrong. You have forsaken your first love. You are no longer good-spirited. You are just negative. You don't believe anything. You are just living. You are just existing. But there is no spark of life. Be careful of this because it is a challenge. And the other one, envying of other people and
the opinion of others.
This too is a challenge. Oh. This too is a challenge for the men, but especially our sisters.
2 Corinthians 10 verse 12.
For we dare
not make ourselves of the number,
or
compare ourselves with some that commend themselves.
But
they measuring themselves by themselves and comparing themselves among themselves are not
you
wise.
are not wise. You are sitting. Hey, I'm 27. You begin calculating. When she was 27, she was already married. When she was 27, she already had a child. When she was 27, she already had a relationship. When she was 27, she already had a car. When she was 25, she already had a job. You begin calculating. And you begin to compare yourself with others. Shaul, however, saying, but they, comparing themselves by themselves
are not
and
wise.
among themselves, are not wise. You can't do this. If you want to live a life of happiness, close your eyes to what others are and are not. Because you are not with me 24/7. What you see of my life is a snippet of reality. And if I'm a master, I can even show you a genjutsu. I can show you a fantasy for the 5 minutes that you are seeing me. So Shaul is saying, with a discerning spirit, the last thing you should do is comparing you with someone else. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know. So comparison is the mother of troubles. It is the mother of headaches. And especially in being persistent, this is a challenge. Because of the opinion of others, because of you comparing yourselves with others, you may give up. So David is saying, hear, O Yah.
When I cry with my voice and have mercy also upon me, and answer me.
When you, O Yah, said,
Seek ye my face.
my heart said,
Unto thee, thy face, O Yah, will I seek.
verse 27, when my father,
And my mother forsake me.
these two, your father and your mother, they can become a challenge in your pursuit of persistency with Elohim. The things they can tell you, the way they can look at you, if you are not careful, you will become so miserable. You will become so miserable. They will be the ones that will tell you, hey, ever since you started believing in this God of yours, have you seen your life? That is when one thing is not going according to plan, according to them. The first thing they will do, especially if you become Hebrew-minded and you took and went away from contemporary Christianity, all of a sudden, they don't look at their own miserable lives, because just look at your father and your mother. Where are they? What is their level? Their level is nowhere. Your father is broke, and you know he's broke. And as for your mom, just to mention, you yourself know your mother is not 100%. Just when you are having a conversation, a dialogue, you realize that, hey, this woman is gone. No financial security, no mental stability. They claim to be religious, but you know, nothing there. Afraid of the government, misery all over. But when something in your life is not going as it should be, according to them, the first thing they will tell you is, you see, where's your God? So they can wound your heart. You are a lady, 27, 28, no relationship. Your mother, who's divorced, will come to you and say, what? Look at your clothes. You look like a grandma. And it can wound you as a sister. And what is so sad is emotions then take over. But your mother who's saying that is divorced. She's alone. So if she was able to dress sexy and be a Christian, why is the husband not there? And when that happens to them, no one says, where's your God? But they will use that weapon against you. You are a sister, married, maybe no children. First time, second time. And you tell your mother, hey, I maybe had a miscarriage. Your mother will call you. You say, but how? And then she will start blaming your God. You see, you should never have left this religion. You see, this religion of yours, you are in a cult, and now you see, and especially our women, it can kill them spiritually. So David is saying, when you said seek my face, when you said go away from the world, come to the true faith, I said I will seek after you. To the point where when my father and my mother forsook me, then thou, O Yah,
You
took me up. And then deliver me not over
unto the will of my enemies.
The will of your enemies are those who now start looking at you sideways, or you left our religion. And then what they would say is, and this is what they say behind the scenes, Fun, watch him, watch his life. They're not saying it to you, but in their mind, That's what they are saying. When one thing goes wrong, you see, ever since he left, you see what has happened to him now. But when the same thing happens to them in their life, no one says that. So now all they are doing is they are timing for your downfall. And then he says, for false witnesses
are risen up against me.
Yeah, he's now in an occult. She's now in an occult. And because of that, that's why she can't marry. Because she started dressing sexy. And now because she's now dressed as modest, that is why no guy wants her. Because she said something about Jesus. And now he believes in some guy called Yeshua. That is why she can't bear children. All these things can come up. And if you're not careful, you will give up. But David is saying, for false witnesses are risen up against me, and such as breathe out
cruelty.
Do you know how cruel you have to be to tell your daughter who has decided to dress modest that she looks like a grandma? Do you know how cruel you have to be? Do you know how cruel you have to be? And then David said, hey, Elohim, I almost fainted. When all these things came at me, I almost died because of the pain, the humiliation. You go to a wedding, the looks. The people who you know are not even your peers. Look at them. The looks, the murmuring. So as a sister, you look at yourself, you're like. So David said, Elohim, I almost died. I almost became bitter. I almost became bitter. Unless
I had believed to see the goodness of Yah in the land of the living.
So I waited on Yah.
Be of good courage.
I was of good courage. I swallowed up my pride. I was like, Elohim, to you be all the glory, all the tribulation, all the mockings. To you be the glory. And when you are doing that, you are persistent with Elohim whilst you are going through the challenges. What he's doing is he's cleansing your heart. And that is what we call the death of a person. You are now dying. You are dying. But when you will come out pure, you become unmovable. Where they expected hate, they see purity. Where they expected bitterness, they see humility. Where they expected for you to trump, and you're like, no, you become pure. The things that they would do to you, all of a sudden, it just bounces off. You don't mind them anymore because you realize that, hey, for me to live or to die, it is not men. It's Elohim. This is an ascended level which we must obtain. However, this only comes after we go through the moment of waiting, but being persistent. So Psalms 37, verse 7, it says, rest in Yah.
And wait patiently for him.
Fret not
thyself because of him who prospered in his way, because of the man who brings wicked devices to pass.
Let not evildoers trouble you. Stop comparing yourselves with others because they have it already. You don't know what will happen afterwards. But as for you, rest in Yah, wait patiently for him in good courage. This also is a challenge. And if you're able to pass through this, you'll make it. Another challenge when trying to be persistent is distractions. This too can hinder you from remaining persistent in Elohim. 1 Corinthians 7:35. And this I speak.
For your own profit, not that I may cast a snare upon you, but for that which is comely, and that ye may attend upon Yah without distraction.
This we say, not to put any burden upon you, or to cast a snare in front of your feet, but for that which is comely, so that ye may attend upon Yah without distraction. Galatians 1:10. Am I now
Trying to win the approval of human beings or of Elohim? Or am I trying to please people? If I was still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Hamashiach.
So people can be a major distraction. You know you have to go the other way. You know you have to persist in something. Can you remember how many women, even on YouTube, they would sleep and have a dream? Elohim will tell them in the dream, dress modest. Be careful with this. She will hear it. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Go to the people, be it your mother, your father, your pastor. They will tell you something. And all of a sudden, you stop attending to Elohim and you decide to please the people. So because of the people, you are now distracted off your course. And that is how we and many people live out their religion. They are only religious because other people are. Remove the people and they stop becoming what they are. And if that is the case, then your belief is shallow and it depends upon the crowd. But once the crowd is removed, what is left of you? That is the question. That is the question. Ephesians 5:15-16. So then,
be careful how you live. Do not be unwise, but wise, making the best use of your time because the days are evil. Let your eyes, in Proverbs 4:25, let your eyes look directly forward, and your feet and your gaze be straight before you. Ponder the path of your feet, then all your ways will be sure. Do not swerve to the right or to the left, and turn your foot away from evil.
This is also one of the reasons why you can stop being persistent. When you repented, for example, or when you wanted to make a change, you would usually sit down and make a plan. I will do this, then I will do this, then I will do this. Especially, I always like to give practical examples. Maybe for people who wanted to lose weight, for example, usually you can see that losing weight is a matter of planning. If you plan your month, for example, in advance, you say, I will eat this and this and this and this and this. You bring your lunch packet, everything that you will eat, you have planned it out. You will usually see if you stick to that plan, you'll get results. The moment that things go wrong is usually the moment where you are now living or you are now in a situation where there is no plan. You have to freestyle. And it is at that moment where things can go wrong. It's the same as when you want to attend to Elohim. The Messiah gave an example and said, no man who I think wants to build can build
a house without counting the cost.
Without first counting the cost. I can't just sit there and be okay. I want to build a house, and I go somewhere, I buy ground, and I buy stones, and I start building. And all of a sudden, I'm like, hey, I'm 10%. I'm at 10%, but I'm broke now. All of a sudden, you have to stop. You will lose. What you have to do is you have to think, where do I want to live? How much money do I have? How much would it cost me to build that house? When I have everything ready, I start building. It's the same as when it comes to you being persistent. You must be meticulous in your planning. Whenever you are distracted, it means you are moving outside of your plan. So if you also want to remain persistent in Elohim, you must be meticulous in how you go about your day, how you go about your life. Yeah, I want to be with Elohim. And then a friend calls you, hey, come on, chill. You're like, okay, I'm coming. Your mom goes, okay, I'm coming. So you are just being moved to and fro. You don't have your own plan. If you don't have your own plan, you can't go anywhere with Elohim. You are too distracted. Your gaze is not face forward. Your feet is not forward.
Do you then also suggest like a prayer plan type?
I'll get there. But this is one of the challenges when it comes to being persistent. Distraction can be a challenge. So these were the three major challenges. And this is now the final one. Doubt. And this one is the most dangerous. Doubt. When trying to be persistent, all of a sudden, doubt creeps in. So look at this verse. This is the first time that I've seen this verse like this, because the King James doesn't really do it justice. So I saw this version in the English Standard Version. It says, and have
mercy on those who doubt.
When I saw it, I was like, I've never seen this before. And also, to be honest, I've never prayed like this before for someone. Usually when you pray for someone, you're like, Elohim, forgive them of their sins. Elohim, help them, grant them strength, increase their faith. But this is short, simple, but powerful. Have mercy on those who doubt. Because doubt is the antithesis of faith. When you have doubt, it's very difficult to penetrate. So Mark 9:23, Yeshua said to him,
if you can believe, all things are possible to him that believes.
Now listen to this man. And straightway the father responded and said,
with tears, Master, I believe.
However,
help thou my unbelief.
This is a pure prayer, which many people don't pray, but you should. You should. Sometimes we always think prayer, no, prayer is a sincere expression of the soul. That is my own definition of it. Prayer is a sincere expression of the soul. And this is what Elohim, above anything else, this is what he needs from you. When you come to him, don't feign. Don't act as if. Express your soul as sincerely as possible. Sometimes you can come to Elohim and say, Elohim, I want to pray, but I don't believe. It's much better than you 1 hour Kabbalah. You don't have time. You don't have time. So this father, he listened to what the Messiah said, and he said, I believe, but please help my unbelief because I believe nothing. This is a sincere prayer, especially for those that are going the path of bitterness. When you catch yourself that, hey, I'm starting to become bitter. My heart is starting to grow cold towards Elohim. This is the prayer for you. Abba, I'm growing cold. I'm growing cold. I'm in doubt. I'm in confusion. I don't believe. So please help my unbelief. Have mercy on me who doubts. I know, but still I'm doubting. Because doubt can also be a major challenge when you are trying to be persistent. So James 1:6, but let him ask
In faith, with no doubting,
for the one.
who doubts is like a wave of the sea that is driven and tossed by the wind.
So when you are doubting, you are unstable, moved by the people, moved by your emotions, moved by what happens around you, super unstable. Now you are singing a worship song. 5 minutes later, you are cussing someone out, angry. You are now laughing. 2 minutes later, crying. Not stable at all. Philippians 4:13. You must believe that I can do all
Things through the Messiah who strengthens me.
Why? For he that comes
To Yah must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him.
So I wrote down the two components
That make prayer effectual are your obedience and your faith.
Mhm.
It is on the premise of these two that Elohim honors our petitions.
That is it. That is it. You must be very careful. These two components are what makes your prayer. If it is obedience and it is your faith.
And that persistence is within faith, right?
No, the persistence is. What do you mean?
When you say, we just spoke about how important it is, especially in the beginning, sorry, to be persistent in your prayer. And now you say the two important components are obedience and faith. But is persistence not, let's say, a sort evidence of your faith, or is it a bit different?
No, people can be persistent, but they have become bitter. Many people that go to churches, they have left Elohim a long time. And you can, if you look at their lives very carefully, you'll spot them. They have left Elohim a long time, but they still come to church. But if you can just tap into their phones and listen to their conversations, women will go to church. After church, they will come home and have after service, calling people on the phone. And all that they are discussing is the negative things in the church. Have you seen what the pastor said? Breaking down the message from Satan's perspective. And then they will switch. Yeah, and also, apart from the pastor, did you see what this lady, did you see what she did, what she wore? So that person does not go to the church to meet Elohim. It's just life. They have left Elohim a long time, but they were still, and that's what's funny. They're still probably paying their tithes, and they still have prayer topics, what they pray to Elohim for. So they are persistent, but the root of bitterness already took over. They are now just doing it because what else do they have to do? That's what happens. So that's why I said the two components make your prayer. It is obedience and it is your faith. And so on the premise of these two, Elohim honors our petition. So you come to Elohim and you are obedient to what he says, to his word. But you are also coming to him with faith, knowing that Elohim is a rewarder of those that diligently seek him. Elohim said, wait on him in patience and not in bitterness. So you are applying all these principles And then when you are praying, it will eventually, when the time is right, Elohim will meet you. These are the two components, and that's what I mean. Yeah? So, all that I'm trying to say is, because we are bringing it to an end, it won't take too long, is especially this doubt. If doubt is not dealt with, you will eventually give up. And the race is not over until you give up. That's why we've always said, you should never give up. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on Elohim. The moment that you give up, it's as if you tell your angel, you are dismissed now. The moment you stop, boom, your angel also stops. And it's like, and he turns into a stone statue. Why? Because you're not speaking to him anymore. There is nothing going up and down anymore. You have become estranged from each other. Now he has nothing to do, and now you are just living life. You must never, never, never give up. You must try to push, continue to push in Elohim. Continue to push in Elohim. Because you do not know what tomorrow holds. What is down today can be up tomorrow. What is left can be right. Where there is darkness, light can also come. As long as you realize, hey, I can still sleep and wake up. I can still breathe. I can still reason. It means you can still change your outcome. It can still change your outcome. And when you are in that moment of maybe temptation or tribulation, use it to magnify Elohim. What I mean is, there was this song of a brother, and he explained something, which up until today, I still remember. He was explaining why the angels could not sing the song of Moses. Why only men can sing the song of Moses. And his explanation was, angels are not able to sing the song of Moses because you did not deliver them. There is no angel who can say, Elohim has delivered me. So that song will make the angels to be a liar. Only mankind can sing the song of Moses because you delivered us. No angel can praise Elohim and say, thank you for healing me. It will make the angel a liar. But mankind can say, Elohim, you delivered me. Do you understand the depth of that statement? And why Revelation says, and they sang the song of Moses, which no other people or no other person or no other spirit could sing, except for them whom he redeemed. So when you are going through a challenging time and you are waiting on Elohim, use it. Use it to give glory to Elohim. Use it to show people that, hey, there are people who exist who can glorify Elohim in the midst of difficulties. That type of worship to Elohim is more precious than gold. When you stand before Elohim, praising him, when he has not yet given you the desires of your heart, and me praising Elohim because he has already given me the desires of my heart, whose praise do you think is more precious? Whose praise is more precious? To one who has not but is grateful to Yah, or the one who has and is grateful to Yah? Because the enemy can always say, Elohim, This guy is only praising you because he has this. But there is no accusation against you who doesn't have and is still praising Yah. So the moments that you are going through difficulty, do not be discouraged. Try to push. So that one day when you have obtained it, you can look back and tell people where Elohim has taken you from. And that becomes a testimony to the glory of Elohim. Then your life story becomes a testimony. And every time your story is being told, Elohim is being glorified. So you will also enter into the books of men of faith, people who endured and they obtained a good report. So use this to your advantage. Enter into the history of the people who obtained a good report. In the midst of your difficulties and challenges, praise Elohim. And say, Elohim, I'm going through this, but I'm not the only person that went through this. Sarah also went through a moment of having no children. Now I thank you for counting me worthy to be in line with women like Sarah. Abraham also went through this. He obtained children maybe at the age of 90. Elohim, I'm still young. So I know with you all things is possible. And when you are saying it, maybe you cry because you look at your life and sometimes you're like, Elohim, my faith is gone. Help my unbelief. But keep on pushing. Keep on pushing. Keep on pushing. And eventually, in your persistency, in you glorifying Elohim, in you doing what you have to do despite of anything, eventually you will have a memorial before Elohim that you kept the faith. And when your time of visitation comes, Elohim will not forget you. And in saving you and helping you, those that have observed and seen your life will also glorify Elohim. So